Peter, thank you for coming in. Perfect day to have you. And we've got to start with that AMCU story. Yes, the production numbers are there, but cleverer people than you and I are busy with the numbers and putting them into share prices. Let's talk about AMCU and the potential impact of what this means. First of all, tell me what you understand by this threat of deregistration.
I was really surprised because I don't remember last time I read such a notice, by the government. And it says highly placed government sources. So you wonder...
In a government gazette.
They gazetted this thing. So somebody's thought it through. But I think I'm as surprised as anybody at AMCU must be surprised. It's the second largest mining union we've got. Very powerful union. It's been in the news a lot. It's a dominant union on the platinum side. So as this unquoted mining executive in the paper said, lots of the unions have been breaking their terms of their constitution, and are they doing whatever for the benefit of their men, or are they doing it for a power struggle? So why is AMCU picked on, and why now?
Yeah, so I'm reading here a story, and this is a story from Bloomberg, and they are reporting that the registrar is saying that AMCU violated its constitution by failing to hold a Congress to elect new leadership. It then informed the registrar that it would hold the Congress in May. This is May last year, but later pushed that date back to September, citing workers who had embarked on a strike. Now, even now, as matters stand, apparently there is no prospect of AMCU preparing for elections in September. It's got 60 days to do this. Yeah. So it does appear like they've got technical grounds upon which they're basing this on.
And Godfrey, there could be a lot more going on between the registrar and AMCU that you and I know about, and that the mining industry knows about. So. Sure. There's always two sides to a story. Government could say, hey, we've been interacting with them for 12 months. We've given 1 warning notice, 2 warning notice. And look, a lot of good can come out of this. Much more good can come out of this, I think, than had they not done it. Because now the other unions will also be held to account. Yes. And people will start realizing they must play by the rules of everybody else.
Absolutely. But now I'm beginning to think of the wider picture, Peter, and I'm looking at the potential year of disruption within the industry in a year when South African growth is fragile. Already we have been told if the power cuts continue, we will have no growth at all. This coming from no less than the Reserve Bank. At the same time, we already have an election coming through. At the same time, we know these forecasts for GDP at the beginning of the year, by the time we get to the end of the year, they are gone.
Look, nothing disrupts growth or production as labor strife. Nothing. Even Eskom, you can make a plan. But when you've got labor strife, it really affects you. It demoralizes you. It cripples your balance sheet. You can't plan. So, if this country wants to grow, if we want to grow our mining industry, we've got to have stable labor relations. And you know what? We might not even have a union. If they're deregistered, the men are going to get paid the same. They've agreed, 3-year contract.
Is that a good thing, do you think, to have no unions around?
Well, funny enough, a lot of the world runs on no unions. And this is supposed to be a free country. So some mines have multiple unions, including a percentage of the workforce has no unions. And they all keep each other in line. I worked on many non-union mines. My brother worked on the union mines. We compared notes. He was always trying to get on my mines.
So if AMCU dies, this might not be the end of the world for South African labor relations and also in terms of worker protection. Is that what you're trying to argue?
Well, if 14,000 miners wake up and they don't have a union and they find they keep getting paid the same day after day, year after year, they might start wondering, were we getting more out of this union or less?
Well, it's quite a lot of numbers because its website says 250,000 active members.
Well, that's all the
within
mines.
Gold, mining.
I know. I was just talking to 14,000 who've been on strike for 5 months. They must wonder why they've got a union.
Absolutely. They must be asking that question. Okay, so you're not worried. That's the point that I'm trying to drive
No,
home.
I'm not. As long as it's public and everybody can focus on
it's done transparently.
Yeah, that's right.
It should be okay.
And hopefully it's putting all unions on notice. Guys, let's play by the rules. Everybody plays by the same rules.
Absolutely. Okay. So we did see some production numbers coming through today. I saw Goldfields production up 10%. Nick Holland sounding very chirpy and saying we are going to become a 2 million ounce production bullion company going forward. And when you take in the Americas, you take in the rest of Africa, as well as, of course, here in South Africa. For the Anglos, though, it's a different picture. But let's begin at Goldfields.
Okay. We don't want to make our gold mines start looking like the diamond mines, that every now and then they have a full page article
Yeah.
in the paper
Yeah.
that says they found a $5 million diamond. They found a 82 carat $4 million diamond. Huh? Most funders, most investors, they buy an equity for growth and or for dividends. So do we really care if it's 1.9 million ounces or 2.3 or 2.4? If we don't see an immediate translation into growing earnings, it's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Now, it is good news production's up 10.
Yeah.
But does that mean production's going to be up 5 next quarter?
Yeah.
And how does that translate into earnings?
Yeah.
And was it up because of a poor quarter before?
And how much is coming from South Deep?
Yeah, see, that's kind of in the background now, isn't it?
Yeah.
We all know if South Deep was able to run like the plan was, gold production would have been up 20%.
100%. All right, let's go to the Anglos. Iron ore production, copper production, down 6%. Platinum production, I think it was up 6%, was it? Net coal production, 25% lower. The picture as a whole is mixed across those Anglos group because you are also looking at De Beers, 8% decline in output to 7.9 million carats.
You know, my initial reaction when I saw those figures was we've had some pretty amazing production figures from Anglo American almost ever since the bounce up in 2016. Remember when Anglo's was down to 55 Rand a share and people said, is this company going to close? Is it going to be taken over?
Yeah.
Their production figures almost every quarter for the last 2 years, I thought had been exceeding my expectations and a lot of other people's. I think this is more just a leveling off. You know, you can't just get everything right every quarter without some little disaster slowing you down.
Yeah.
And I think the guys have done a very good job of cutting costs, increasing production, growing the company. I haven't looked at the figures in depth yet, so I'm not a good guy to comment, but I'm not worried about it at all.
Yeah. Quickly though, your thoughts on Kumba Iron Ore, because this surprised me. At a time when you had that Brazilian disaster, sorry about that, but I was thinking this is the time for Kumba Iron Ore to be profiting. But what happens? Output was down 12%.
But how do they get their output to the buyer? It all goes through a railroad.
How?
And so we don't want to point fingers, but they are locked into Transnet. Huh? And we know Transnet was run by the same people that were running Eskom.
You just pointed a big finger. Let's talk about those problems. What is your understanding in terms of the actions that are being taken to address this? Because we've been given this broad story that Cyril Ramaphosa has come with a broad brush, and we're giving him leeway. He has come in, he's cleaning up the parastatals. He's cleaning up the workings of government as a whole. He's also improving the projection of SA as a place to do business. Thabo Mbeki comes out and is going to vote out of his hole. Things are looking better. What are you saying in terms of what these guys are doing to fix the rail side of it?
Godfrey, things are definitely looking better. Things are definitely sounding better. Now, how much are things getting better? We don't know. The numbers will tell us that. But at least this is on the front page of the paper now for the last year. And I think that's great news because we were having problems with Transnet and Eskom for the last 5, 6, 7 years. But if you mentioned it, you were categorized as a troublemaker or anti the country, you were non-patriotic. So once you start airing problems, they will start getting resolved.
Yeah.
And because these problems are affecting everyone, they're affecting the workers, the government, the tax man, they are being addressed. Maybe not fast enough, maybe not properly enough, but geez, at least everybody's admitted the problems. And I'm very positive things are getting better for Eskom and Transnet. And this shows how urgently we have to get those two companies
Absolutely.
fixed.
And then what happens? Elections come. Democracy cannot be held back. We have to have an election. Here's a question that you may not have prepared for. Do you see Gwede Mantashe coming back?
Yes, I do. I do, because I don't want to think of it without him. I think he's got to, at least for a while. And we heard the same story about Tito Mboweni. And Cyril's got to bring him back, at least for another year.
So you're saying Cyril has got to bring back Tito Mboweni as finance minister. He's got to bring back Gwede as finance minister.
He does, please, just for another 12 months, because they've got to see through some of the changes, improvements they've started on. They've got a long ways to go, both of them. They can't leave now and then someone else tries to pick up or do his own thing.
Yeah, I was going to ask you a difficult question, but I think I'll hold it back. But I'll still tell you the question anyway. Who do you not see coming back?
Man,
let's
there's a lot of parties, a lot of persons, but we'd rather not see come back. Yeah, I can't answer that without giving it some good thought.